So having said that, I'm going to start to share my screen just so we can start the presentation. But before we go any further into the presentation, I'd love to hear from you as to what your expectations are. Anyone want me to deviate from the course as was described within the overview? This is too easy. Make me work for my money on a Monday afternoon. Okay, well, let's do it. Let's go ahead and get started, and feel free to put any questions that you may have in the chat box, and I will certainly address those as those come up, but I also have some time left over at the end for us to chat, to get to know each other and answer any questions along the way. So this is just an overview of where our presentation is going to go today. And again, I welcome deviations from this map, if you will. I want to make sure that you feel as if we are meeting your expectations. But because I'm a member of the talent acquisition team, I really have developed the presentation not only around employability skills, but also around current career opportunities. I'd love to recruit each and every one of you, but I know that you probably have wonderful jobs and you all are doing what you're meant to be doing. And let me tell you, that's very honorable work. And I'm very appreciative for the work that you all do each and every day. I have several family members and friends who are educators, and hats off to you. You are contributing to our next generation, and I am very grateful for you to be in the positions that you are in. However, if you are looking for individuals who, or excuse me, if you know of individuals who are looking for employment, then we have over 1,200 career opportunities available, meaning that healthcare is a very stable place right now, and it's a great place for individuals to build or change careers into. So just a little bit about HonorHealth. Who knows something about HonorHealth? Anyone out there? Aaron, I see you nodding your head. Anyone else out there know anything a little bit about HonorHealth? So just a brief overview. And Aaron, what do you know about HonorHealth? Just to randomly call someone out in the audience, because I see you nodding your head. Not to put you on the spot, but.
Well, just know that you're a local healthcare provider in the Valley. I'm actually based in Tucson, but know that you do lots of work across the Phoenix region in healthcare providers and such.
That's perfect. Thank you for that, Aaron. No, just like Aaron said, we are based within the Phoenix Valley. We have recently expanded, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But we do have 6 medical, most Phoenix and Scottsdale. And then we have over 70 medical group locations, primary care, specialty care, urgent care, located in all stretches of the Phoenix area. And within those stretches of the valley, we're looking at from Lake Pleasant to Fountain Hills, Anthem to South Tempe. So we're really kind of all throughout the Phoenix area. And then Trisha mentioned in regards to the last externship, and shout out to Trisha if you were in a previous externship session with me, glad to see you again, but that we provide a lot of opportunities for growth and development. Yes, that is one of the things we are known for. And that's one of the things we like to tout, because we believe that all employees should have access not only to benefits to help them further and advance their careers, but also to help them evolve into the careers that they want to pursue. But we have over 12,500 employees. We have the medical group that we talked about. We have our clinical research team, our own accountable care organization, which is basically our own network of physicians. So it helps us keep our insurance costs low, for example, because the employees can utilize that network of physicians and go out of network only when they need to for specialists or other specialized services. But we really, when you think about HonorHealth as to who we are and who we want to serve, we're really focused on our mission, our vision, and our values. And you'll see those in front of you. It's not only that we want to improve the health and well-being of our patients, but also our employees. So work-life balance, for example, is very important to us at HonorHealth. And then we want to be, another thing we're known for is transforming healthcare within our communities, meaning we're very community-centric. And we have so many community service outreach initiatives. And that's one of the reasons that I'm proud to be an HonorHealth employee. is that I feel as if I'm making a difference in the community in which I live and work. And a few of those initiatives you may have heard of is our HonorHealth Military Partnership Center at our Osborne Medical Center in Scottsdale, where we train first responders as well as active duty members of the military or those who may be going overseas on battlefield medicine techniques such as tourniquet application. We also have a Desert Mission Food Bank at our John C. Lincoln Medical Center that not only helps with our community members, but also helps our employees, especially during this time. And then we have our values. They spell out I care, innovation, collaboration, accountability, respect, and empathy. We'll talk about essential skills or soft skills and hard skills a little bit later in the presentation, but a lot of times I receive the question, what does it take to be a good HonorHealth employee? Or what are you looking for in the next generation of HonorHealth employees? And it's really those who embody these values, both professionally and personally. So I think that empathy especially is important within a healthcare environment, but also respect. Think about it now, a lot of corporate environments, especially in light of 2020 events, are adopting or enhancing diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging, accessibility initiatives. Whereas, I mean, in my opinion, that's somewhere that healthcare needs to be at the forefront because we are treating patients from many different cultural backgrounds, language backgrounds, sometimes even gender backgrounds. And we have to be sensitive to those needs, expectations, wants, backgrounds to be able to deliver high quality care. But we also, I think it's very important as we grow the next generation of healthcare professionals in partnership with each and every one of you, we need to really be mindful of making sure that our workforce is representative of our nation's people. And so making sure that our executives, for example, are not only white males, but females, maybe Latinos or the Latinx population, maybe Native Americans, but also those who are at the bedside caring for these patients. So very important. And that's why we have our commitment to diversity, inclusion, and belonging that you'll see at the bottom. Off to the right, you'll see some of the recognitions. I mentioned our support of veterans and the military. We also have our NOAA program. Is anyone familiar with NOAA out there? And I'm sorry, my view is rather limited, so I only see Aaron. So if other people are out there shaking or nodding their heads, feel free to say, hey, hey, I think Angela is saying something. Angela, are you familiar with NOAA? You might be muted if you're talking to us. So NOAA stands for Neighborhood Outreach Access to Health. Some of you may know, those of you have been in the Phoenix area for a while, HonorHealth became HonorHealth in 2015 when we merged Scottsdale Healthcare and John C. Lincoln together. Two local healthcare organizations that combined have over 100 years of service to the local community. Within the legacy Scottsdale, I was a legacy Scottsdale Healthcare employee. NOAA was like our sister. We had NOAA clinics throughout the valley, and they operated hand in hand with Scottsdale Healthcare. When Scottsdale Healthcare and Scottsdale Healthcare became HonorHealth, coincidentally at the same time, NOAA kind of broke away from us and became our cousin in the fact that they became recognized as their own federally qualified health center. So the cool thing is they're still linked to us, but not as formally. And the really neat thing is HonorHealth employees are NOAA employees, and NOAA employees are HonorHealth employees, I should say. So if we have NOAA employees, those NOAA employees are also HonorHealth employees. But these NOAA clinics specialize in medical, dental, and behavioral health care for individuals. I myself have taken my daughter to a NOAA clinic because her pediatrician didn't have a flu vaccine for her age group. But so anyone can go there, but they really specialize in serving underserved communities, such as immigrants, migrants, those who may not have direct access to healthcare for whatever reason. And so if you have students, for example, who speak second or third or fourth languages, how cool is that? Because that is where they can make a difference being a healthcare professional, whether it be a behavioral health professional, a dental professional, or a business administrative professional, for example. But yes, Sarah, it's called NOAH, NOAH. And then last but not least, Magnet. Does anyone know what a magnet healthcare organization is all about? Okay, so a magnet culture is one that supports continuous learning and development of all professionals, but especially nursing professionals. And magnet, just like the name implies, means that we attract and retain the best of the best when it comes to nursing professionals. But it's also a commitment to collaboration between nurses and physicians, physicians and housekeepers, nurses and business professionals. We all contribute to a magnet culture. But it also says that we want, not only, like I said before, the best of the best when it comes to nursing professionals, but that we will commit to hiring 80% of our nurses being at least bachelor's prepared nurses. So it's not that we don't hire associate or diploma nurses. It's that we just ask that within 30 months of hire, that they receive their bachelor's degrees. And we help them with that in terms of tuition assistance and other supports, which we'll talk about in a minute. But we firmly believe, as part of the magnet culture, that a bachelor's prepared nurse is more autonomous, more prepared to make leadership-oriented decisions that will provide greater quality and patient care outcomes to her patients or his patients. Any questions so far? I'll take a breather. All right.
I actually had a question real fast. Sure. So you talked about magnet helping with like tuition and stuff for nurses, but you said it's also for other things. What other things, like higher level, like physician assistants or nurse anesthetists, things like that?
So if you don't mind, clarify what I said and how I can help better answer the question. Like when I said tuition assistants can help out with other disciplines, is that what you're asking? What other disciplines can it help with?
Yeah, because you mentioned nursing. I just didn't know how high of a level you could go aside from nursing.
So our tuition assistance program is for all professionals as long as it leads to a career pathway at HonorHealth. But the nursing career path, I mean, it can be for individuals who want to become chief nursing officers and pursue their doctorates, for example. Or it can be for nurse practitioners. It can be for nurse anesthetists. It can be for any or all of the above.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Of course. Good question. Thank you for that. All right. So just briefly, this is kind of a snapshot of our HonorHealth locations and where we're located throughout the Valley. You may know of a location in your neighborhood or may have passed by one on your way to work or school or like running errands, for example. The purple H's are the medical centers that I referenced, our 6 medical centers. Our 6th one just opened where you see this red cross or plus sign at the Carefree Highway and I-17. That used to be our 24/7 emergency center, and it's now our 6th hospital. It opened in the midst of COVID last September. It's currently a 40-bed facility that'll grow to about 200 beds. And then the green, yellow, and blue icons represent our HonorHealth Medical Center locations. And then closer to Aaron's neck of the woods, down in southern Arizona, we just entered into a relationship with FastMed Urgent Cares. So you'll start to see, if you haven't already, HonorHealth FastMed locations throughout Arizona, including further west in the Phoenix area, as well as southern Arizona, including Tucson. So pretty exciting. We are starting to expand statewide. We have had opportunities in the past to expand more regionally and nationally, but we've decided to stay local and focus on our local community and focus on quality rather than quantity. And then HonorHealthJobs.com is where all of our 1,200 career positions are currently posted. But I also want to call out that website because there's a great page, and I'm a little biased, it's my page, that I maintain called the Career Development page on HonorHealthJobs.com. And I'll show you kind of some of the highlights in just a minute, but there are sample hypothetical career paths available for you to share with your students on those pages. And I have 3 career coaching certifications, so I'm really passionate about upskilling the current workforce, but also working with educators and members of the education community, including K through 12 plus students, in pursuing their educational passions. And so that's what brought me here to you today, is together it's a partnership. We both need each other to coexist and survive, right? And so I'm happy to be with you all and do anything that I can to help your students pursue their interests within the healthcare career community. And so these are just the one-page snapshots of those 3 career paths that are featured on HonorHealthJobs.com. This is a way that you can kind of envision it as a one-pager, and I can send these to you as PDFs if you're interested. But they're also available for download, meaning on HonorHealthJobs.com, each of these color-coded cards that you see, so like EVS Associate Aid, Environmental Services Associate, is broken down into one page each on the HonorHealthJobs.com version. So this is kind of the playful, whimsical version, but if you need something that's a little easier to read, that's what's on HonorHealth Jobs. And within each of these snapshots, you'll see a daily task for each of the you'll see daily tasks for each of the opportunities listed, the education training required, the median hourly pay, and helpful hints. So does anyone know what a central sterile processing professional does?
No clue.
So those are the individuals very important to our workforce and especially important to our operating or our patients who come through our operating rooms. These professionals, CSPD professionals, we call them, sanitize and sterilize all of the surgical instruments that are used during surgeries. So of course they have fancy equipment such as autoclaves and dishwashers to help them, but they are really the ones who are kind of the quality control, inspection control professionals that make sure that the machines are actually doing their jobs. And you all probably know hospitals are like small cities. We have the mayor, if you will, our CEO, we have photographers, our radiology professionals, we have landscapers, we have security professionals, we have non-clinical professionals such as those in my role. We have the clinical professionals. I like to dispel the myth that it's not just the Grey's Anatomy effect. We have at HonorHealth, no disrespect to Grey's Anatomy, but we have over 1,200 unique job descriptions representing our 12,500 plus employees. So lots of opportunities for those. I like to talk with students and say, all right, challenge, game on. What do you want to do for a living? What job interests you that does not exist within healthcare? There are some, but there are very few. I mean, we need IT professionals, for example. We need cybersecurity professionals. We need marketing professionals. We need educators. We have 2 preschools on site at each of our locations, so we need preschool teachers. So many different opportunities for students to pursue their passions within healthcare. Our lab career path, kind of a helpful little tidbit of information for those who are interested in studying lab programs. There's only one program now, a bachelor's prepared program within the state of Arizona. There used to be 3, but now the only medical lab science program exists at ASU. And these individuals are difficult to find, and they have so many different opportunities available to them, both within retail and commercial labs, and hospital labs. So if you know of anyone looking for secure employment, either now or in the next 10, 20 years, then this is the career path for them. And Erin, great question. I'm gonna go back to, actually, that's a perfect transition into a nursing career path. So thank you for that. Erin asked, could a high school student start out as a patient sitter? So yes, that is perfectly, the only thing is we hire at a minimum age of 18 because of our accreditation guidelines, such as through OSHA. But yes, as long as they're 18 plus, they can start out as a patient sitter. Don't have to have a high school diploma or GED yet. Hopefully they're working towards that. But yes, definitely a good place for a student to start at 12-20 plus an hour, not including shift differentials, which would be if they work nights or weekends. Being mindful of curfew, of course, so they could be working at $15, $16 an hour. Yes, and Erin, we'll talk about tuition assistance, yes, in a minute, definitely. It is a great opportunity for a high school student or new high school grad, especially those who may be graduating in May, June, looking for their first employment opportunity. A patient care tech is basically a CNA. So if you know of anyone who is in a CNA program now or is going to pursue a CNA program upon high school graduation, those are our patient care tech roles. Medical assistants, as we constantly acquire new medical practices, another fantastic opportunity for a young person or those who are early careering. And yes, Donald, if you go to HonorHealthJobs.com, it will redirect you. HonorHealthJobs.com is just a little bit kind of a catchier tag URL, but it will redirect you and it's the same website. Thank you for that. And then let's talk featured career opportunities, and then we'll kind of transition into employability skills. So these opportunities on the left that you see on the screen, these are the hot opportunities that we are hiring for where we have immediate vacancies today. I don't anticipate this list to change. I mean, it may change from week to week, like maybe we have a larger need one week for medical assistants, then we do farm techs, and then the next week we have a more elevated need for farm techs than we do for medical assistants. But I really anticipate this list to change too much, to be honest with you, probably for about a year to 3 years, maybe even 5 years. And why? Let's talk about it. Any guesses? Love to hear your voices. I see all of your beautiful and handsome faces, but.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. So why do we anticipate this list to not change in the next 1 to 3 to 5 years in terms of those hot, immediate opportunities on the left where there are immediate vacancies for these career professionals?
Because we are always going to need them. We're in the middle of a pandemic and we need them especially right now.
Definitely. Well, hopefully the pandemic will be coming to a place where we all feel a little bit safer and healthier in the months ahead, but maybe why in the next 3 years? Any guesses? Or maybe let's look, oh, sorry, go ahead.
There aren't enough professionals in the industry to fill the vacancies.
Right, exactly. And think about our geographic location. We're in Arizona, we're in the Sun Belt. We have a lot of individuals who come here to retire, for example. So it's an aging population, it's a more mature population. And unfortunately, regardless of geography, we're seeing that patients nowadays are sicker than they have been in the past. Women are going to continue to have babies. Sorry, guys, we're trying to figure out how you can help us out there. But right now it's all on the women, for better or for worse. But healthcare is an industry that is going to be a staple. With the fields and the talk of artificial intelligence, AI, any guesses as to how healthcare has changed? We still have humans at the
You guys can serve more people now?
Talk about that a little bit more, if you don't mind. Where's your train of thought going?
Just through like the AI, the chat bots and being able to be more virtual and help with education with the patients and your little, like your patient portal through your own healthcare provider? And
So you're on the exact, I mean, you're on the same wavelength that I am. Yes, definitely. So like with virtual video visits with our providers, for example, that's something that's here to stay. We're in the driver's seat, or at least we should be when it comes to making our healthcare decisions. We need to advocate for ourselves even more so in terms of, you know, maybe a physician says, well, you have this, but I'm not experiencing these symptoms. I don't feel this way. I mean, unfortunately, Dr. Google is here to stay. We all kind of look up symptoms like, ooh, could this be a cold or could it be something else? And then we start to worry. But at the end of the day, we still go see our healthcare providers usually to confirm our diagnosis. With simulation, for example, a lot of times there are not a lot of learning environments available for the number of, let's say, nursing students or medical students that are available within the community that we need to educate and grow the next generation. So not only our hospitals, but also schools using simulation to train the healthcare professionals, those already at the bedside, to upskill, to keep their skills current, but also to grow the next generation. But the good news is all of those features and many more that are within the healthcare industry are leading to a boom of more professionals that are needed. So even though AI is here and it's entered the healthcare space, we're still a human-run industry. Thank goodness. I mean, don't get me wrong. Humans make mistakes. We're not perfect. We have bad days. But thank goodness we're not robots. Because in my opinion, when I am in the hospital, I don't want a robot taking care of me. A robot may not be as compassionate or empathetic or be able to answer my questions. I mean, think about, unfortunately, in this time of COVID, when patients are alone in the hospitals. I wouldn't want a robot holding my hand if I was in that situation. I'm so grateful that there are nurses, respiratory therapists, physicians who can help me better understand my diagnosis, who could help me heal, who could answer my questions. And another way we use artificial intelligence, and we were using this technology prior to COVID, is in our housekeeping space. No one likes to go to a hospital and have it be dirty or gross, right? Well, we have robots that are light zapping robots that kill germs and bacteria, including COVID. And we've only had to add jobs to our housekeeping team to run those robots. And with 3 of our hospital locations being in Scottsdale, we compete with the resorts. We compete in Phoenix and Scottsdale with resort and fast food, for example, or just the restaurant industry in general, to hiring food services professionals to feed our patients, to feed our employees, to feed our patient support people. So that's why I don't anticipate this list to change. And the great news is if you have students who are working in fast food right now, or at the resorts, even at Motel 6, those are all skills that are transferable into healthcare. And they have an opportunity to hopefully build a career home with us, rather than, no disrespect to any of those other employers, but rather than just having a job. And that's what we are looking to do. Even during COVID, when the resorts were laying off a lot of their employees, we partnered with them to say, hey, you have employees who want jobs that you've had to let go. We have opportunities for them. Now I don't expect them to be as friendly to us as they were then, but we still are very fortunate that we have those relationships with our community members to help our community members go back to work. And there's just more information on the right about how to apply, and at the very bottom, where to go to check the status of an application. And then in terms of our benefits, and before I talk benefits, let me rewind. Does anyone see any common threads as to maybe what hard or technical skills or soft or essential skills are important within the healthcare industry? And I didn't create a slide because I wanted to create some dialogue around this topic.
I would
I'm
like
gonna say
to
soft
jump in.
skills.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Donald. I'm gonna say soft skills because I, want my phlebotomist to put me at ease because I don't like being stuck with needles. And so I want them to be able to, put me at ease and be able to calm me down And the same with your people that are interacting, you know, even your food delivery. When you're in the hospital, you want somebody to be kind and thoughtful when they drop off your food. And I think that's what we're finding across all of these that we're doing, is that the need for soft skills.
So Heidi, if I could paraphrase, and feel free to correct me if I'm paraphrasing incorrectly, but maybe being patient centric, for example, and having communication skills. You didn't say this, but both verbally and written, those are definitely important within the healthcare industry. Customer service skills. Sarah, you mentioned customer service, compassion, and critical thinking. Exactly right. Any others out there? Was it Donald who was going to speak as Heidi was speaking?
Yes, I was going to say that that we use some personality identifiers in terms of helping our students understand their temperaments and how they might fit into the healthcare industry. Certain things like the Myers-Briggs personality type indicator, and then there's the Holland code, and then there's something that we just started using this year called U-Science, and it really helps them to identify that, because likewise, we don't want anybody coming taking care of us. It's like, okay, well, I'm sorry, you're going to die in 10 minutes. I got to go look at the next patient over here. That's not what we're looking for at that point. We're looking for major compassion and understanding.
Or I have to check my cell phone, or, you know, excuse me, I have a text coming in. Let me see what's going on in the world. Oh, you're not doing too well. Let me come back to you. What's going on here? And Donald, hats off to you and your district or your school for utilizing those assessments, because we utilize those within our workforce tools and our toolkit. But I think it's great that you're taking that a step further. I mean, for example, I was a geek in high school and loved to read the Department of Labor Occupational Outlook Handbook. And so, I mean, I love to hear that you are taking it to the next level, because I mean, even though I use those types of assessments and tools with those like career coach, it's good to hear that the students are getting exposure to that early on. I feel that they need to be starting to make these decisions and have these thoughts, sometimes even before high school.
I have another question. I don't teach nursing, but we have a nursing program here at Metro Tech High School. And I know, so I've been listening to hear whether or not you was going to mention, as from a community service partner perspective or whatever, are you partnering with the various high schools to help the students with their clinical hours and meet those state requirements? And if so, how is that going about? Because I would like to put our nursing teachers in contact with that, because we have 2 nursing teachers, one who has never taught in her life ever. So she's not panicking, but she's like, help, please.
So I used to oversee all the student learning experiences, both at the high school and undergraduate levels at HonorHealth. And we used to have and it was previous in the Scottsdale healthcare days, we used to have a very robust partnership program with our local high schools, mostly at that time in Scottsdale, because it was Scottsdale healthcare. But we are, I do some work with the high schools in terms of, I have semi-annual Stitch Expos, they're called, student training in trades and careers at HonorHealth, where students come in for a day and learn a little bit more about employability skills and all the different career paths that exist within the healthcare setting, and ways that we can help them actualize their goals. But I am partnering with those who oversee our student placements right now to look at enhancing our student placements of CTE high school students and CTE programs, not only to grow the next generation, but also to just give these students the experiences they want and need. The thing we're running into as a barrier or perceived barrier at this time is the background check component, because most of them are under the age of 18. But we're starting to just have those conversations, and hopefully they'll evolve into something positive. But I'm going to include my contact information at the end of this presentation, Donald. So I'd be happy to connect with your, I think, is it a CNA program at Metro Tech, if I'm not mistaken?
Sorry, yes, I was shaking my head.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. So yes, I'd be happy to connect with your CNA instructors and learn a little bit more about how we can help each other. And if it's not on-site clinicals, maybe there are other ways we can help each other.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Good question. Something I'm passionate about. So thank you for bringing that up. What other skills do you think are important within the healthcare industry? Hard skills, soft skills? As you can imagine, I mean, in my opinion, there really isn't a defined list because of the number of unique opportunities that are available. I think that the hard skills, I mean, yes, there's education that may be required for some of these positions, training that may be required, but really what it boils down to at HonorHealth is those who can embody our values, like I mentioned before, but also it's stress management, it's critical thinking, it's coordination of your activities and your communication with those of your teammates. So being team oriented, there's no I in team, being collaborative, being flexible. I mentioned being willing to tolerate and accept diverse opinions or perspectives that may not be your own, even if it's just in the workplace and then you go home and if you believe something different, that's your opinion, but being able to project to the patients that you're on their side, you're on their team, and just being able to do right by the patient. And so I think that's something that's really important at HonorHealth is we're looking for those individuals who can walk that talk. Any questions about skills? Yes, Kevin, thank you. Detail oriented, definitely. When it comes to charting, recording, everything. And definitely, you're right. That is somewhere in between a hard skill and a soft skill. And Angela, compassion, leadership. I'm glad you brought up leadership, Angela. So because I oversee our HonorHealth Learning Institute and the leadership and development of our about 10,500 non-leadership employees, one of the things I tell them is you all are, each and every one of you, you're leaders regardless of title. You have an ability to lead yourself, to lead your teams, to lead your patients. Leadership is critical within the healthcare environment. Any other skills out there you can think of? All right, let's move on. So I want to show you this snapshot of the benefits, not only because I'm biased and I think our benefits are awesome, but because I really want to focus again on what we can offer students, employees in terms of taking their careers to the next level. And so these are my favorite benefits in that regard. Our tuition assistance program, again, I'm biased, but it is the best in the industry, the local industry at least, in the fact that we offer $5,250 to all employees working a minimum of 16 hours per week after 6 months of employment. So some of our competitors, I've heard them say, and I've done some secret shopping, and I've also asked family members and friends who work at our competitors to validate, but the money is available on either a first come, first serve basis, or it's a lottery. You have to have your employee number drawn each year to participate in tuition assistance. Well, that kind of puts, in my opinion, the employee at a disadvantage if their number isn't drawn, if they're in a 4-year degree program and they have funding year 1, but not year 2. But our tuition assistance is both offered at a prepaid and reimbursement level. So basically what that means is anyone studying a program that leads to a clinical program of study or a class or a certificate can receive prepaid tuition after their 6 months of service, where they sign up for the class and we put the money just directly back into their paycheck within 2 to 3 weeks after the process has gone through. Reimbursed tuition is offered to those studying non-clinical programs or classes such as MBAs, bachelor's in marketing or education, as long as it leads to, again, a career path at HonorHealth. In addition to tuition assistance every year, we also offer each of those employees who meet the eligibility requirements that I mentioned before, after 6 months of employment working 16 hours a week, our professional development program, which based upon job title, $800 to $3,500 per year to go to conferences, pay for their registration, associated travel, lodging, transportation for that conference, non-academic certifications, the ability to join a professional development group, or to subscribe to white papers, for example. We are starting ESL and high school completion classes later this year. That is not an invitation for your students to drop out of high school, but just if they find themselves in a situation where they need some extra support in that area, we will be offering that to our employees. And again, I kind of talked about work-life balance, but also, is anyone familiar with the social determinants of health? So the social determinants of health is a term that is coined by the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control. And the first time it was mentioned was in the Healthy People 2010 report. And it basically says that our health is determined by how and where and when we worship, we play, we work. So all of those conditions determine our health. How much money we make, what we do for a living, if we participate in religious services, for example. And we are very big on promoting the social determinants of health to our employees, but also to our patients. Because don't get me wrong, it's our business model. We want to see patients in our hospitals, but we actually do better both financially and professionally. We feel better about ourselves as professionals when we keep patients out of the hospital, because that means that we have coached them, we have educated them to be healthy outside of our walls. And that's what we want. So I bring this up because it's very important to us that our employees make a living wage and that they have the resources they need for when they're ready to retire. So our 403B plan, we're nonprofit, so it's not a 401k. Our 403B plan is available to all employees on day one of employment, 4% optional company match, fully vested on day one of employment. And then staying healthy means work-life balance, taking a mental health day if needed, just being able to walk away for a few days, take a vacation, not think about work. Does anyone know how many hours of PTO, paid time off, we offer our employees in the first year of employment? 240 hours. So 6 weeks of vacation, holiday time, mental health days, not including an additional 2 weeks of paid sick time. So 8 weeks. All right, I'm not trying to recruit you all, but talk to me afterwards. Becca and Sarah are ready to jump ship. That's not my goal. I need you where you are, but at the same time, if you know someone, we'll talk. And last but not least, I mean, we want to make sure our employees are taken care of, again, when it comes to their financial health, their physical health, their emotional health, their behavioral health. Uh-oh, Aaron, no one's showing up for the rest of the week. This is not good.
I'm worried. I'm really worried. They're going to be too busy getting their applications and resumes together, Leah.
Not the intent, but hey, we'd love to have you. Our medical, dental, vision insurance starts on day one after the first month of employment. And the nice thing is it's very competitive, very affordable, very quality care. And so to connect with us, if you know of someone looking for a job, I included our HonorHealth talent community. The URL is here, honorhealth.avature.net/HonorHealth, I think. It's not giving it to me, so I'll post it in the chat, but I don't want to lead you astray. But also you can connect with us through LinkedIn or Facebook. And you can connect with me if you're looking for guest speakers or opportunities for students to engage with healthcare professionals, learn a little bit more about how we can help them if they have interests in the healthcare field. And I will open it up for questions.
Ms. Hill, can you go back to the previous slide, please? I just want to take a picture of your information, please.
Yes,
Thank you.
I'm sorry. You're welcome. I thank you all each and every day for the commitments that you make to our community and to the next generation of professionals in general. Biasly and selfishly, I'd love them all to be healthcare professionals, but we all have different passions and pursuits. And like I mentioned, being a career coach and academic coach, I'd be happy to talk with any of your students one-on-one. If they have questions about how to engage with the healthcare community, what their next steps are, maybe they're getting ready to graduate, maybe they want to look and see what their options can be with or without post-secondary education or training, whatever it may be, please feel free to stay in touch with me.
Leah, you had mentioned that you're, I think, combining with, did you say NextCare Health in Tucson?
So we actually just formed a relationship with FastMed Urgent Care.
Oh, FastMed, okay.
Yes, yes. So you'll start to see, if you haven't already, in Tucson signs that say like "Welcome HonorHealth" and "HonorHealth FastMed," etc.
So those are going to be urgent care centers.
Correct. Yes, yes. They're the existing centers. We just have entered into this relationship where basically they're going to be renamed HonorHealth FastMed.
Okay. Out of the positions that you showed us today, the like clusters, is there any particular one that is like very hard to fill or always has openings because the turnaround is great, so there's a more of a demand in any given subgroup?
Is it Deborah? May I call you Deborah?
Sure.
Okay. So when I look at this list, I would say in terms of high demand right now, it is experienced nurses, because they are needed almost everywhere. And COVID has really exacerbated the need for travel nurses, which of course travel nurses can make a lot more money than a bedside nurse. And so, but the nice thing is we've put together some sign-on bonuses for these professionals and others to entice them. Food services and housekeeping professionals, I think we're going to see more of a demand in the very near future for IT, whether it be hardware professionals, software professionals, programming professionals, and especially cybersecurity professionals. Lab professionals, because of there only being that one bachelor's program in the state of Arizona for medical lab scientists, medical assistants, and definitely at this time, therapists, respiratory therapists, physical therapists, occupational therapists, and speech therapists.
Okay.
I know it's a long laundry list. You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. And that's not just HonorHealth, that's industry-wide because of our aging population, our patients who are sicker and need these professionals to care for them. And Danielle had a question in the chat box about DACA recipients eligible for tuition assistance. So in regards to DACA and tuition assistance, we just ask that individuals, I mean, we pay tuition at the in-state level for all of our employees. So if they're eligible for in-state tuition, then they would be eligible for tuition assistance. But we don't determine eligibility based upon citizenship, if that makes sense, Danielle. Okay, good, good. Thank you for confirming.
Leah, how about if we did have some high school students or recent high school graduates that were interested, what would be your sort of tips or recommendations for applying to HonorHealth? What's the best way to get seen perhaps, or make that connection?
So this is a great time for a high school student to be interested in HonorHealth, because we're accepting applications as we speak for our HonorHealth Summer Teen Volunteer Program. So if there are teens who are interested in volunteering, we are accepting applications, and some of it may be virtual volunteering and some of it may be in person. We're starting to bring some of our volunteers back into the campuses. And then also, I mean, if they're 18, at least a minimum age of 18, it just depends on where they've had previous education or experience, which is not required. But if they have had previous education or experience, I mean, I would certainly have them look at our patient care technician roles. If they have CNA experience, they don't have to be certified. And through that professional development program, we'll pay for their certification. So after 6 months, they can go get certified on us. If they have phlebotomy training, if they have done farm tech programs, which I know are happening in our JTED, as well as our CTE programs. Those are some options for getting their feet in the door. Then also, if they don't have previous healthcare experience, but they want to start in healthcare, becoming a patient transporter. Those are the individuals who transport our patients, like from the emergency room to x-ray. Patient sitters, as we talked about earlier, food services or housekeeping professionals. And especially if they don't have the gross factor, if they don't want to be near blood and guts, unlike me as a high school student, for example, then they can certainly start in some of those non-clinical areas. And then even if they do have an interest later on, maybe we pay for them to go to school and become a respiratory therapist, or maybe even become like a lawyer or a chef at culinary school. But different ways that they can not only start their career paths, but also we can help them kind of continue their career paths in partnership with our tuition assistance program and with them.
Hey, Leah, I saw something about a volunteer type program that you guys have. Do you guys see a lot of transition from volunteer into full-time work?
We do. And we also see a lot of transition, and I can elaborate on that earlier part of the question too. But we see a lot of transition, especially at this time of year, for students who are graduating. So those who are like graduating, let's say from a nursing program, and they're acting as a patient care tech right now. So we see a lot of openings for our entry-level positions or phlebotomists. But yes, we have a lot of students who, especially if they're going to school locally, like I said, tuition assistance is the best scholarship in town. So they transition from volunteering into a career opportunity, even if it's for 2 8-hour shifts a week, Saturdays and Sundays, and we're paying for their schooling. So we try to kind of have it be a wraparound or a seamless transition from volunteering into employment so we can help them pay for their education. And then we even see a lot of our employees come back to us, like, for example, after they go to medical school, they become physicians with us, or they become physical therapists with us after they've gone to PT school. So we see a lot of students kind of grow up. I've been at HonorHealth myself for 18 years and had 9 different careers or 9 different job titles. So I can truly testify to HonorHealth's culture of learning and development. They paid for one of my master's degree. They're going to pay for my second one that I'm getting ready to start, and about 6 non-academic certifications.
And my last question, Leah, a lot of my students ask where some of the funding comes from for nonprofit business, just because they might have a heart in that. What is the funding for HonorHealth?
So we have a lot of different funding sources. I mean, of course, patient revenue and third-party insurance, for example, coming back to us, but we have donors. I mean, we have a very robust foundation that brings in, gosh, I was just looking at it last week. I think it's over $100 million a year. So we have donors that sponsor a lot of our programs. And then, I mean, the nice thing about being nonprofit is we reinvest money back into our patients, our patient care services, our community, and back into our employees and our infrastructure. So again, I'm biased, but I feel that our hospitals are probably some of the most beautiful ones in the valley when it comes to facilities. And it's because we're investing our profits back into the infrastructure to make them look nice, because no one wants to go to a hospital that's not aesthetically pleasing, or, like I said before, dirty, for example.
Ms. Hill, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Currently, I have some seniors in my program that are going, even though I teach technical, they're in my class and they're going into the medical profession. And when we were looking over the course content at Phoenix College and the Gateway Community College, a lot of those medical programs that we were looking at said that they had to attend these programs for 40 hours a week, like a full class load. How would you recommend, or what would you recommend for a student that wants to do that, but at the same time, maybe try to find some employment with HonorHealth and yet be in these medical programs, whether it be dental or with technician or what have you?
I understand it can be intense. I know, for example, we have a partnership with Gateway Community College Respiratory Therapy Program where our employees can bypass the wait list. Their wait list is about 2 years to get in, and our employees can just slide into a seat within the next semester as long as they meet the prerequisites. But then once they're in the program, they do have to be in class 40 hours a week. I would recommend, I mean, if they can, to not only gain some experience, and I know working and going to school is not for everyone for whatever reason, And I understand and appreciate that. But if they can, potentially maybe working a Saturday and a Sunday to not only gain some experience, but also helping us be able to fund their education. And maybe if that's not a possibility, and if tuition's already taken care of, either through grants, scholarships, or other sources, maybe volunteering,
Okay.
or at least volunteering maybe before they get into that stage in the program, maybe as they do their prereqs or during summer vacation, for example, so they can at least kind of hopefully see the relevancy of what they're learning and applying it and making sure it's really what they want to spend their professional careers doing.
Okay, and so in line with that and the Saturday work that you just mentioned, what kind of part-time job would you recommend? Because I am looking at your employment section here on my other computer, because I have, like I said, I got 4 students who are going to be doing this.
Sure.
And so they're going into the medical field, even though you took my program. So I'm really trying to help them make the right decision. So anything that you can share with me, I would like to pass it on to them.
Of course, no. So if you filter, you can filter on HonorHealthJobs.com by part-time opportunities if you're not doing that already. And almost every, there are a lot of entry-level positions. Almost every non-exempt position can be eligible for part-time. And because we're very student-centric at HonorHealth, our leaders work with the students/employees and going back to school. So even if they were to start, let's say this summer at a full-time level, or even 3/4 time, but then had to go into a half-time role, I mean, talking with their leader and saying, I still want to work here, I'm still engaged, I'm still excited about the work we're doing, but I'm also excited about going back to school. Is there any way that I can go down to a part-time level? And some of those positions where we have students who are working in those positions as they go to school include transporters, phlebotomists, medical assistants, patient sitters, COVID testers and screeners, a new job that developed as a result of this unfortunate pandemic. Many opportunities can exist part-time. And again, if it's not posted as part-time, talking with the hiring manager and saying, maybe not tomorrow because you need someone full-time tomorrow, but if I were to accept this opportunity, if you were so gracious to have me, would it be available at a part-time level after 6 months? Just having that conversation. I would encourage the students to interview us as much as we're interviewing them. It has to be a good fit for both parties.
Okay, thank you very much.
Of course. Anything else out there? I'm happy to stick around, but I know we're at time, so I want to be respectful of time. I thank you all for your service and being vital members of our workforce, and thank you for all that you do each and every day, and happy to connect with each and every one of you offline, so please stay in touch with me. And thank you so much for not only your commitment, but spending some time with me today, and hope to get to know you all outside of these walls in the near future.
Leah, thank you so much. Just great presentation. Really appreciate you taking the time today and answering all the questions. Just some wonderful opportunities for our students at HonorHealth. So we're excited to be able to share that out, and just appreciate everybody. Folks, have a great evening. We'll see all of you for tomorrow's session.
And Sarah, I'll look forward to your application. Just kidding. Have a great night, everyone.